The story of how Pinhook got on this list is um, kind of a tragic one. There are definitely not 6 people that live here. There are 0 people that live here. So I don't know how the official census uh, works, but there is certainly no one. There is certainly no one living in Penhook. The history of Penhook, it originally started. Um, it was started by some sharecroppers, and it grew into a community of 200 to 300 people, and it was a successful place. We're right here close to the Mississippi River, and that's what in the what happened to it later on here is it was because of its location to the Mississippi River. But it was a thriving little community. It had schools and churches and stores, and it was a nice community. But it was situated in an area that got flooded a lot. There were different levees that were put up that were to try to help the communities around the Mississippi River throughout the 20th century with the flooding. And so, the community got smaller. The 1970s were particularly tough. There were 3 significant floods that, a lot of people in Penhook decided to leave because of how many floods that were happening. And then the big one happened in 2011. If you remember, in 2011, the Midwest had all kinds of terrible flooding. I can remember being from Kansas, being in Iowa at the time, and it was really terrible. And so along the Mississippi River, they were worried about the flooding in the towns. And so Cairo, Illinois, which is only a couple miles from here, across the border, we're real close to the Illinois border. They were worried about Cairo, Illinois, which was a little bigger, city, being flooded. And so they made a decision to help the water flow in a certain direction by blowing up one of the levees.
So notice Congresswoman Emerson is here as well. Thank you very much for being here, ma'am. The main issue is public safety remains the number one issue for the Corps of Engineers. I've ordered the district commander to operate the project.
Wow, it's fast.
Pause for a second.
Wow, we saw that line of fire just as it was described and then heard a series of blasts strong enough that I could feel my inside shake, the vehicles around us shake. I'm sure it was a sound loud enough for you all to hear. That was the intentional breaching of the Birds Point levee.
What they didn't do, or they didn't realize, is that the result of that how that would affect a community like Pinhook. There were only about 30 people living here at the time, and no one in Pinhook knew that this was going to happen. And someone in the town saw it on TV that day, and they literally only had a couple hours to evacuate before the entire place was underwater. It was a terrible flood that Penhook couldn't recover from. Everything was demolished. Everyone had to move away. There was no assistance given to the people in Penhook to help. Obviously things happened fast, so, tough situation all around, but certainly the people of Penhook should have had some warning and gotten some help evacuating. What's left is not much. There's a lot of farm equipment. There's a lot of things maybe for helping clean up the area, or maybe they just store it here. but there's only one house that is definitely no one living in it. It is really creepy inside. Finally, in 2017 or 2018, the people of Pinhook who had to move away finally got some financial assistance for their troubles. Probably was too little, too late. I'm sure they had a lot of great times here in Penhook, and unfortunately met a tragic end. I don't know. Once again, I don't know how 6 people are registered to live here, but officially on the U.S. Census, 6 people live in Penhook, but there's no one here.